Let's start my presentation, and please feel free to ask around. So I will tell you a little bit about how we came to use Kanban, our problem or challenge or issue, how you want to. It was actually a problem. I think I don't actually know if we would have been here as Winkle if we did not have implemented Kanban. So it was a little bit of a problem. I'm going to talk about that more. Winklifying Kanban, Kanbanizing Winkle, the challenges and the successes at the end. And it felt like a mission to Mars for us at the time we started with it. So to tell you a little bit more about Winkle. So we are a market research agency. We work for big clients like Reckitt Benckiser, Philips, Sanofi, Electrolux, well, you can name them all. And if they develop new products, we test a lot of those products with consumers. We do about 175 projects a year. They're very different. Some are small, some are larger, some take 3 weeks, some take 2 months. We have 25 people, so we're relatively small. Our average startup time is 2 days from getting it commissioned, so that's quite fast. Average lead time, I just mentioned that we have different projects where our average lead time is about 4 weeks from start to delivering our results. And we have a lot of changes. Clients never have their stuff at our company on time. They're always too late. So every project changes almost daily, sometimes multiple times a day. We're founded in 2009, so not that old yet. Grew from 1 person, it was Hans Lingemann, the founder, to 25 by now. And we have sales offices in the US, Italy, in Amsterdam, UK. In Amsterdam and the US it's actually New York where our office is. They also have the delivery team. The other offices are mainly salespeople. So that's a little bit about Winkle. And actually we were founded from frustration. In the market research agencies, it was normally, like, especially if you were talking about innovation. Innovation for me is about creativity, speed, testing things, finding things out. And if then market research was used in that whole process, it felt like the opposite sides of two worlds. It took very long. It was black and white. It was unveiling information that you already knew. It felt like two sides of one world. And based on that frustration, we founded Winkle. So for us, it was about speed. It was about agility, flexibility. It was about really helping our clients, making the best innovation decisions they could make, being successful in innovation. So that was in our DNA. But we grew in like 7 years from 1 person to 25. How do you keep that DNA within your company and the thing that makes you special? Because if you change that, you become your competitor. Like, I don't know if you know AC Nielsen or Ipsos. How you become them, and what's then your advantage? So it was really important for us to keep that positioning, keep that DNA within the company. So we grew from 1 to 25, and you start to lose control at one point if you grow your company, or you feel like you start to lose control. And I don't know how it's with you, but the normal reaction we all had was, okay, if you can't manage all your projects with 1 person, you add another, and you add another, and you add another. And before you know, there's a whole difficult, complex situation. We couldn't keep track of our clients anymore, so we implemented CRM systems. And before we knew we had this, well, I will not go into them all, but it was a complex situation of all like mini systems, people. Well, it wasn't control at all. And we felt we were working towards more control. And the funny thing for me, implementing Kanban is actually about letting go of everything you've learned, letting go of wanting to know every detail of every day of every project, and trust the people that are working for you actually, and that they will sort it out, as long as you facilitate them with the right tools. So after that situation, luckily it took only a quarter or so. And we looked into tools and systems. We felt like, hey, this is not going to help us. It's us. We need to look at ourselves and how we work. And is our process actually clear in how we work? So we really came to the realization that technique wasn't our, adding more people in technique wasn't the solution for us. So that's one of the lessons I really want to bring across. So don't let technology drive your process. Start with how you work and what you are and how you work and what works well. So we started with writing down our process. This is one of the last phases, because we started with Post-its and teams together, and you probably, because a lot of, almost all of you have experience in Kanban, have gone through that process. So we started to write down how we actually work, how everything fitted together, what steps we used. The slides are a little bit, well, bright. So this is one example, but I will skip it. The Post-its, Post-it notes. And me and one of my colleagues did, it was actually a funny moment. At one point in time, Tina, a colleague of mine, and I were mainly doing the planning, and at one point in time, it was a year ago, it could happen that the team was really, really, really full, like, well, not happy anymore, so full. And that the sales team were sending me 6 emails with an email like, hey, great, I sold something. Can you start it up this afternoon or tomorrow? And we could only look at each other and laugh at that moment, because we were totally not capable anymore of handling that. So she worked with Kanban before, and she told me about 2.5 years before when I had an interview with her. And because we couldn't handle it anymore, thanks, because we couldn't handle it anymore, I think it was by intuition, pulled the whole team together, put them in a room, and started to talk about what they were doing. And I asked her, like, didn't you tell me something about this 2.5 years ago? How was that called? And she told me, oh, that's Kanban, and maybe we should look into it. So by this time, we did a short training together to get the first basics of Kanban, and that's actually how it all started. So the first steps is Tina in the office. I was working at home. We took a whiteboard from somewhere in the storage, and we just started with Post-its and called each other daily. Sometimes she was at home and she was sitting in front of the board. And we just started with what we had. And we started to make incremental changes, slow changes. So that was somewhere beginning of 2015. Then in February 25, we felt quite confident that we had the basics right. We introduced it to the team. That was an exciting moment. We told them about Kanban, what it was, why it was hopefully useful for us, how it would help, and then at the end we told them, oh, by the way, every morning there's a stand-up. You need to be in the office or dialing in. And especially the salespeople were, well, not so happy with that. We got a lot of questions like, you can't tie us up to the office every day. We're salespeople, we should be out there. And we said, well, it's just 50 minutes of your day. And we feel that the rest of your day will then be really under control, really free to do everything else. And luckily, well, they hang in there. And that's how we started. The first weeks were terrible. The stand-ups took 1 hour. I think the concerns about it went up with twice as many concerns. We made a lot of changes, but we made sure that all the feedback that the team gave us, that we implemented it over the time, that we really made the changes quickly. This is the new board, so you saw a picture of the old one. Actually, we just moved on to an online system because we have a lot of people not working in the Amsterdam or New York office. And they can't read it and they can't do anything with it, so we just moved on to an online system. But we made magnets. That was really funny because people really loved those magnets. There was even like, don't I have a magnet yet? I need to get one. And there was some competition out of it, so you need to make it fun. We created new cards with colors, and actually everybody was adopting it really quickly. This is a bigger picture, the cards. We also made a little brochure. It's just an A4 piece of paper with 2 sides. And our process is in there, everybody's role is in there, the policies are in there, and everybody can read it, also the new people. It's really easy. I can set it around, it's not so readable. This is in the inside, so you can see the process. So really quickly to the successes, because I just mentioned, I really, really don't know if we would have existed without Kanban, if I would be here as managing director of Winkle. I have implemented a lot of new processes over my career, and it always took a lot of time. I don't know how what your experiences are. Actually, the first result was there in 2 weeks. It was small. It was just about people communicating together during the stand-up, but it was amazingly quick. We had a smooth process in 2 months. Well, I had never experienced that before. Usually it took at least a year or longer. There were results from the very first stand-up. And also what I always experienced was resistance from the team. Well, this was so different. They have resistance when we presented it. But funny enough, I'm now in San Diego, the team is running it. I don't even have to be at the stand-up anymore. I think it was in the 2nd month that we implemented it, and we started with 3 stand-ups a day on Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursdays, just to give them a little bit of freedom. And after a month, the team came to me and they said like, we would like to add a stand-up on Monday and Friday too, because it's way too long in between. Well, I had never experienced such a thing, that the team was actually requesting extra stand-ups. Unbelievable. So that was really amazing. And the funny thing is, especially for the sales team, they automatically started to talk about replenishment. I have a sales meeting on Monday afternoon with the whole team, and they automatically were starting to talk about, like, hey, but hey, you just told us that there's so much capacity left. If we sell all of these things, shouldn't we think about priority? And should we see which projects are more important than others, or which clients are more important than others? Or can we be creative in starting some things later on in time? Do they all need to start tomorrow? So that was amazing. The team was automatically starting to think about it. And then it's just a matter of facilitating those meetings and those thoughts. And I don't know how it's with you, but with other processes, I always find it really hard to actually get real info out of it, to do something with it. With this system, it's so simple. The sales team knows exactly how much capacity there's left. And that's really important for them when they're at a client and they can get something commissioned. They need to know if there is a team to start working on it or not, or if they need to be creative. So there's an actually up-to-date status every time of the day. It's great for them. It feels confident. It gives them power to negotiate with clients. So it's amazing. A lot of time you need to adjust yourself to a process or a tool. This is the other way around, I feel. So implementing Kanban for us made the team work more closely. So before you had sales and you had research, and they didn't like each other that much because sales was selling stuff that you couldn't deliver. The research people didn't know how difficult it was to sell something and to make your clients happy, and there was a lot of like competition there. Now it's a team. It's amazing, and there's no proposal going out to clients where both are involved. That's always teamwork now, and both are satisfied with what's going out to clients, so that's great. And even staff people are joining because they want to know what's happening and how they can help. Sometimes they just walk in once a week just to know what the status is and how they can help. What I always also like about Kanban is what my experience was with new processes, is that you need to follow the process, and there's no room for experiments or different things. And with Kanban, we learned that actually you can embrace experiments, or you can embrace expedite projects that before would mess up everything. Now we like them because you can move them through the system really quickly. You have your money in at the end. It's actually fun to work on those projects. And that's an amazing change. We have small, large projects on the board. It doesn't matter. It's just, you know, it's on the cards. You know that some research projects are larger than others. You can just work with it. So don't feel that you need to keep yourself to like standard size projects. You can just make it work. I think this is the most important slide in the end for us. It meant for us that we can utilize our capacity for more than 30%, so I can work on 30% more revenue with the same team. And for us, that was actually a difference between a loss and a profit. Yeah, it's amazing. And I get almost every month I get friended agencies to participate in our stand-up, because yeah, everybody that's in our business knows how difficult that is and how important that is to survive as an agency. It's an amazing improvement, and it's different things from the Kanban system that make that happen. It's how we have less switching time due to the WIP limits. We use them. You have less handovers, so you can use your time way more efficient. Less mistakes also, because people have overview and they can be proactive and they can inform clients proactive. So there's many things of the Kanban process that helps you improve your quality and make you more efficient in using your capacity that's in your agency. And that's what led to 30%. I think it's maybe even more. I haven't I haven't tracked. Last February we were really at our max. The WIP limits were all like maxed out. I think I haven't done the math. I think it's even higher. But yeah, for us it was about survival implementing this. So this is the end of my my story. Do you have any questions? Yeah, sorry. Yeah. It's actually quite easy, because for us it's, and you know how many people you have and how many revenue you work on with the team. So it's quite easy to measure for us. Yeah. And we know how many hours people spend on projects. So we have quite some info to do the calculation. I didn't do it like, after last February because it's too busy actually at the moment, but it's quite easy to measure.
What about stand-up? Do you do it at each location?
Well, actually, yeah, we do two actually. We do it in the morning. We do the UK and the rest of Europe one. There's 1 hour time difference at 10 o'clock Europe time. So and then for me at 2:30 in the afternoon, it's 8:30 New York time. We do the New York stand-up for the US, and we just recently started that one because the team is growing there. Last year there were just 2 people, and well, it's quite easy to. They have sort of stand-ups then, but I think it was 3 months ago when we started US stand-up. So actually, in the beginning, it's a lot about explanation, helping people. But what I think the biggest improvement we made was from the beginning we cut people off in a nice way if they were going into content and more than just what they needed to say in the stand-up. So in a nice way, of course, because you don't want to offend them, but be really strict in when they go into like actual project details, because that's for after, like with your team, with your project team. It's about what you do that day and what issues there are and if you need other people, and not about project details. 15 minutes, and we have it depends a little bit, we use a buddy system for salespeople. If they have a client meeting, because that happens of course, they always send an email to a buddy who represents them in the stand-up. It works really well actually, and it gives them a little bit of freedom. So there's between 6 and 15, 20 people there. So it's something like that, and it's still doable in, it's unbelievable how much information you can bring across in 50 minutes. I'm still amazed, and almost everybody that visits us and is at our stand-up is amazed by that actually. Yeah. Yeah, yeah. So we have different colored cards to show the size of the project, or if it's more custom or more standardized, so to say. And so that's how we actually manage it. So it's not, we don't put a lot of focus on it actually. It's just there, and because of the card, you know that it will take a little bit longer to get them through the process than others. And we let the team actually manage that. So we don't focus a lot on it, other than making it clear that there is a difference in lead time and in size. Yeah. And I find that's really amazing, actually, that you don't have to focus on that much. Yeah. So the inside is the process, and the other side is like the rules and why, what color cards are for what you discuss in the stand-up, what you discuss in the sales meeting. So it's a little bit about, all the whole process actually. Yeah, I can make sure that there is a copy here somewhere for everybody to see. It's really nice. It's really small, 2 sides, and that's it. Sorry? We transfer to Linkit. Now, I must say, if you don't need it, for us it was because of the international business, it was a must. But I like the board better, I must say, because it's there. And the funny thing is, as soon as you transfer it to an online system, you need to open it. It's not constantly in your view. With the stand-up, it now takes 10 minutes before everything is, well, set up and ready. So if you don't need it, I prefer, I must say, I don't know if I offend anybody that has online tools, but I prefer the good old like physical board. But for a lot of people in our company, that was not workable. So yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, we with the US stand-up, we split it in two now. Yeah, US and Europe. Yeah. It's also we try to make those two parts of our company quite independent. So that's why we chose to split it up. Yeah. Yeah. Everybody. No, everybody actually. So what we did is, so every time a project changes in phase, it's the responsibility of the researcher to move it to another phase. Yeah. Actually, anybody can. So we have feedback sessions to see if we can improve things, and anybody can bring something in. I think I'm still maybe the real owner, but a lot is done without me actually, and I love it. I don't have to worry about me not being there, or so I think I'm. If you technically speaking, I'm the real owner, but actually the team is doing a lot of stuff themselves. Telling each other that things. So if we deliver stuff to the client, we have our internal evaluation phase. And that was there. All the project got stuck because everybody was already working on new projects. So then the team came up with a solution and making it work, because it's really important. That's where you learn as a company. So the team came up with a way to not to make that moving actually, and to make a real thing out of that evaluation. It was without me. So yeah. No, actually. No, it's so for me the revenue and the utilization of capacity, that's what I track. I do want to look into it a little bit more, but haven't done that yet. Yeah, we do use blockers, but mainly when clients often put projects on hold, and then we use a blocker. That's the purpose. Then we know where it ended, because they can stop it in any time. So maybe sometimes it's already programmed, or we have questionnaires, and they are being programmed. It could be that that's already finished. So we know where the project ended, but we put a blocker on it. We don't have to think about it until that's gone. So usually somewhere in time it will start again. So yeah. Yeah, yeah. That was for me. That was a really important move. I don't want to keep two systems up, because that will never work. So we had somebody transferring everything in 2 days, and then we just told the team. The funny thing is, to put everything in the system, you needed to add everything to the system, because you could assign people to projects. So they got an email about it, but we hadn't. We told them that we would make the transition, of course, and they were involved also with that decision. But we hadn't told them exactly when that would happen. And funny enough, I opened up the program, I think it was 2 hours after all these emails were sent, and I think half of them already uploaded their pictures. It was so funny about how, that was, to me was, well, something about how simple LeanKit works, because it's quite intuitive, but also how involved they are with this whole process. Without me telling them, they were already logging in and changing stuff. So it would, well, make fun, like seeing their faces, and it was fun working with it. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I think so. I think, yeah, 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 definitely. Yeah, you need to make sure, like Tina and I, we dedicated all our time in the first couple of weeks to make sure that we addressed every concern. We talked with people. We said, well, we had some small sessions. I don't know. We did whatever we felt was needed to, yeah, to address those, to make changes, to make it easier. Like, I think that's the most important to make it work. But then it can really, like this whole thing that I just talked about was done in 6 months. Matter of life and death for the company. It can be done really quickly, the changes, and it was really chaotic. I think if we would have gone on with the way we worked, everybody was like in a burnout, or it was unbelievably unbelievably busy. I don't think we have any time, but can we have one last question? What's next? Yeah, so for us, of course, if you grow, you need to think about, like, how can you keep the whole team in one stand-up? Do you need to split boards? I think you need to constantly look at how you can make it work when you grow, because, for instance, our New York team, I predict that it will be as big as Amsterdam in 1.5 years. So you constantly need to see how you can make it work. And what I've done so far is I try to make natural breaks. So like Europe, US, those should be very independent operating parts of our company. So that's where we then make the split. But I don't know how this will work when we're at 50, of course. So you constantly need to adjust the system. So for us, it's an ongoing process, like with moving on to Linkit, splitting US and Europe. It's an ongoing process of constantly making small adjustments. So yeah, yeah, because that's our ambition still. Yeah. Thank you.